Turns out I made a trade that absolutely was not a wise financial decision, but it is a hell of an interesting story. Stay tuned.
Bry's Comics.
We've got an all Silver Age and Golden Age Raw book show tomorrow, Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time on my Whatnot. Link down in the description for $15 towards your first purchase. Also, we do 2 monthly giveaways, one here on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe to the channel, comment on this video, and like this video, you're entered to win a 10-cent Detective Comics. And if you head over to BryceComics.com, sign up for the newsletter, you're entered to win a free slab over there. This month, a 10-cent Detective Comics. Tons of new inventory coming in all the time. Use code COLLECT10 for 10% off. So let me paint the picture of this story because it's a fascinating story. This is a really interesting video, and it's also a satisfying video because there is no part 2. There is no tune in next week to see how it turned out. You're going to get all the answers right here in one video. So when Josh and I at Stacked Shortbox, go give him a follow over on Instagram and Whatnot, we're driving to get the collection in Willits, the one that I walked away from. Somebody called with another collection that they were looking to sell, and I answered the phone. We're both sitting there in the car. I answered on speaker, and it's this guy with a super thick Boston accent. He's from Salisbury, Massachusetts, like the thick Boston accent. And I look over at Josh and he's going like this, like, whoa, this is the real deal. And immediately the thing that starts playing out in my head is that scene from that movie, The Town, with Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner. Fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it in a while, it might be time to pull that one back out. But there's this one scene that just stuck with me and made this impression on me of like Boston people, like this is Boston people. Run the clip.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Whose car are we going to take? That's what was running through my head when this guy was talking about his collection. I thought, oh, shoot, this is the real deal. And I'm looking over at Josh and I see his face and I think, if this thing goes sideways, you know, is he going to be like, whose car are we going to take? And from the look on his face, it was more like, bro, I don't even have a car. You are on your own. So Josh and I aren't quite at that point in the whose car are we going to take point in our friendship. I know this because the other day, Josh sent me a message and I looked down at my phone and it said, hey, Bri, can you help me take some stuff to the dump? And I said, like that. So we'll probably get there eventually. I hope we do. And I am going to help out with that dump run. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking in my head. So we're talking about the collection and he said, you know, maybe it would be easier if I just FaceTime you. I said, sure, go ahead. We're driving. Go ahead and FaceTime me. So he FaceTimes me and I look down at the phone and I'm like, oh, good God. Like I'm looking at this guy. It may as well have been Jeremy Renner's brother. I mean, this guy had the exact same look, the same hair, the jewelry, the tattoo, the accent, everything. I mean, this was Jeremy Renner's brother. And I'm going, man, the only thing that was different though, is that this guy was an absolute sweetheart, just a super, super nice guy, really nice guy, not at all intimidating. It was just my preconceived notions about Boston accents really that got me into this whole mind frame. So I start to ask him, you know, like, how much do you want for the books? He says, well, I think they're valued at around $2,000 or $2,500. But he says, you know, I just gave all of these books to my son. My son is about 13 years old. He wants to sell them all and consolidate them into one book that he really, really wants, which is Flash 123. Now, you're really starting to speak my language when he's talking about, you know, consolidating into bigger books. And he goes on to say that they've been setting up at local shows and selling books here and there, but they'd want to just do it all in one fell swoop. And he was really after, you know, a mid-grade copy of Flash 123. I think it's the first meeting of the Golden Age and the Silver Age Flash. The kid's a big Flash fan. And so they said there's one on eBay that's listed for about $1,200. That's what we have our eye on. So I was hoping to get about $1,200 for these books. And, you know, I'm looking at the books and I'm thinking, man, I don't think there's enough meat on the bone for me at $1,200. And I said, well, how about this? What if I offer the guy that has that book on eBay, the Flash 123. What if I offer him $1,000, and if he accepts it, I'll buy the Flash book. You send me your books. Once I get those, I'll send you the Flash book. He said, deal. That'd be awesome. That's really what we're after. We just want that one book. So I messaged the guy on eBay. It was not listed as best offer. He just had it listed for $1,200. And I messaged him. I said, hey, I know you have it listed for $1,200. You don't have best offer. Sorry to bug you, but I was just wondering if there's any way you can take $1,000. And and he said, yeah, you know what? It's been listed for a couple months, no bites. I'll go ahead and accept $1,000. So I was actually kind of hoping he would say no, and then just wouldn't work out. But he shot me, the offer for $1,000 on eBay. I bought the book. Boston guy, Jeremy Renner, sends me his books. I send the flash, and it's a done deal. Now, what I'm going to do next is I want to show you guys the actual books, all right? And then I'm going to tell you how much they actually sold for, because I actually already sold all of these books in one Whatnot show earlier this week. So I know exactly how much money was made and all of the numbers. We're going to crunch all of the numbers and talk about some takeaways from this whole experience. But while you're watching me go through these books, I want to see what you guys think these books are worth before, I tell you how much they actually sold for, because that's a big part of this video, is getting better at looking at a set of books and being able to distinguish, approximately how much they can sell for. Because the problem is when you're son of a bitch, just a fucking beetle on the microphone. Did you guys see that? There was a bug crawling on the microphone. All right, so the problem with valuing a big set of books is not being exactly right. You just have to be close enough. The problem is when you're way off. If you're double off, like if they're really worth, after they're actually sold 1,000, but you valued them at 2,000, now you're not making wise business choices. And this is something that's really difficult in buying raw book collections, is figuring out those threshold. All right, so with that said, let's take a look at these books quickly. This is it, you guys. We're going to go through it relatively quickly, and then I'm going to show you and tell you exactly how much it actually sold for in this video. Super interesting. So starting off with this box here, we got a bunch of Marvel Tales stuff, nothing huge, just some reprints of classic stories and whatnot. Awesome reading material. Some other books like this, Miss Marvel, a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. What If, Thor, some Captain America, some Mighty Thor Throg, that's a good one, newsstand. Some Captain America, Doctor Strange, some Incredible Hulk, nice little run of Incredible Hulk. Love these Captain Marvel keys, classic Captain America covers. Not all of them have the stickies. Some random stuff like this, like some awesome Adam Hughes modern covers, stuff like that. Bunch of minor stuff, X Factor, couple minor keys from X Factor. Another little run here of Incredible Hulk. No big keys, but definitely some cool ones. Some look at that homage cover. Awesome cover for that one. Some of the Todd McFarlane Incredible Hulks. Some random modern keys. Some minor Fantastic Four keys. A little run of Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, Moon Knight #1 newsstand, and then some randoms from the original run. Some awesome covers by Bill Sienkiewicz. First cover appearance of Nebula. Couple Iron Man books. All right, so nothing huge in that box. There's nothing huge in any of this really, but here's some cool Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. A bunch of newsstand stuff in here. Newsstand edition of Spot. Near mint copy of this, first appearance of the Power Scroll in a newsstand. Almost a 9.8. Almost a 9.8 on this, but just not quite. Maybe if you got super lucky. Some other Bronze Age, some Iceman, some Daredevil newsstand backfillers. Where you at, Josh? Tried to tell you about those. They're gonna be gone. Some Captain America, first cover appearance, Sisters of Sin. Well, that's an interesting cover. Huh. There you go. That classic newsstand edition of the Captain America Annual #8. Love that cover. First appearance of the second Baron Zemo. Nice little run of Uncanny. I mean, not anything crazy, just, like 20 Uncanny books or so, but these are always popular, always such awesome reads. I definitely recommend that you pick these up, even if they're low grade, just as reader copies. Smell the pages, see the art. My favorite thing about these books is the artists and the creators definitely put little Easter eggs in there for us males between the age of 35 and 55. All right, like that. Let's be honest, that's the demographic of my channel, and the creators of this story definitely cater to us men between those ages. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you read these, you know what I mean. There's some that you're like, whoa, I can't believe they put that in there and advertise these for kids. It's not the same in Amazing Spider-Man. It's that X-Men run from the 70s and 80s. But we got some ASM. Nothing huge, but some nice back issue fillers, maybe 20 ASM books. First Ned Leeds is Hobgoblin, newsstand. None of these are 9.8 candidates. A couple books like this, Spider-Man Unlimited, newsstand. Here's almost a complete run of Secret Wars. So we have Secret Wars #1, low grade, #2, #3 newsstand, #4 newsstand, #5 newsstand, #6 direct, #7 newsstand, #8 direct. This is probably the biggest book out of the whole collection. It's definitely not a 9.8 candidate, but it looks to be probably in the VF to near mint range, which is awesome for that one. #9 newsstand, 2 #9s, newsstand and direct. #10, that awesome Dr. Doom cover. #12, so it's missing 11. First Amanda Waller, low grade. First Apocalypse. Some other X-Force, X-Factor. 2 copies of the second appearance of Beta Ray Bill. ASM 2099. A newsstand Web of Spider-Man. Uncanny Inhumans #1. I always thought that book was undervalued. X Factor #1 newsstand, 2 newsstand copies. Wonder Man #1 newsstand. This is the first solo titled series for Wonder Man, I believe, with the Bill Sienkiewicz cover. This one's confusing because there's like another Wonder Man #1. So I'm not sure which one. One's the first ongoing, one's the first solo, something like that. Reprint of Star Wars. Some Venom, a little Deadpool run here, Circle Chase set, a Mighty Thor set, it's like 700 through 706 or 708, something like that for Mighty Thor. A couple of Fantastic Four minor keys, a Batman White Knight run 1 through 6, first Neo Joker. Awesome reading. I actually might hold on to that so I can read the series. I haven't read that one yet. Some Gambit, and some final issues. So all of these books are the final issue in the series of, minor series runs. So that's it for this box. All right, so this entire stack right here is DC 20 centers and Batman books. So Batman, Superman, Supergirl, except for that one. Things of that nature. And I'll probably bulk these out. I might even do like a $1 start auction on the entire stack on Whatnot. A bunch of these DC 100 pagers, a bunch of those, like maybe 10 of those. Awesome reading material. Some low grade Batman, awesome covers. Some Superman. But these just don't demand too much to do like individual auctions for them on Whatnot. So we'll probably just bulk these out. Now that you've seen the books, leave a note in the comments. What do you think those books are worth? Like, how much do you think I could actually sell them for in the one Whatnot show? And don't be afraid if you get it wrong. I'm really curious and want to know from you guys like what you would say without knowing the numbers, because I think that's the important part. So here's what they actually sold for after the Whatnot fees is $1,105 $1,105.25 is what I sold all of the books for in one Whatnot show. That was after the Whatnot fees. Now I need to add to that $65, which was the cost of shipping for all the giveaways that I did. That's included in that. So I need to add $65 to that. So it was really $1,170.25 when you add in the shipping costs. I do a ton of giveaways, but the shipping for the giveaways comes out of your money. So I paid for the Flash book $1,016.10. Okay, there's no tax when you have a reseller's permit. You can buy things on eBay without the sales tax because you're a reseller. I'm a reseller. I took that Flash book and I resold it, so I don't have to pay sales tax when I buy it. Pro tip right there. So that comes out to $154.15 profit. Now, we have to factor in all of the other costs associated with this. There was at least 60 Gemini mailers for that, right? So let's just say conservatively, there's $50 in packing materials. I buy Geminis by the pallet, so my cost I think is around 75 cents or something, but there's a bunch of other packing material and stuff. So conservatively, let's say it's $50 in packing material. So that brings it down to $104.15 profit. Then there was the shipping cost for the Flash book that I sent to him, which is $16.56. That brings it down to $87 profit. And then there was the shipping of his books to me. So I told him I would split the cost of shipping. It came in 2 big boxes. They were $53.34 each. So we each paid $53.34 of shipping for his raw books to me. So that brings me down to $34.25 profit. Now that doesn't account for my time and my employees' time. And I pay my employees really well. There's the overhead of the shop. There's all of the, overhead that it has to have an actual brick and mortar. So that $34 is absolutely gone, with the labor costs. It probably took 3 or 4 hours, maybe more, to pack and ship all of these because we do a really good job with packing. Cade takes his time and does a really good job with packing and shipping. So, right there, I'm in the negative. I'm in the red, but that doesn't even account for my time. And I think there's a solid 8 to 10 hours of my time in this when you factor in the negotiating, the shipping, the receiving, the prepping for the show. The actual show was 3 hours long and everything involved with it. A solid 10 full hours of work. So I'm way in the red financially on this. So there are some untangible benefits of this transaction, however. Number one, when he received the book, all right, one of the things that the guy said, he says, I'm not really good with, technology and texting and everything, just like Jeremy Renner's character would say. He's like, I'm not good with all that texting and stuff. Just call me, that kind of guy. So he said, I'm not really good with that, but I'm going to try to get my son to text you a thank you message because he really, really likes the book. So I get this message from the son and it says, thank you for the book. I will keep it in my collection forever. I go, oh, there it is. Totally worth it. 100% it's worth it. Made this kid's, dream of owning this Flash 123, $1,000 book. He's 13 years old, a reality. Now he's going to keep it forever in his collection. Now, a little word of advice to the young man. If you end up watching this, young man, first of all, don't ever let some stupid YouTuber tell you what's good to collect and what's not good to collect. You collect what you love. Plain and simple. If you always collect what you love, you will never be disappointed. At the end of the day, you're the one that has to have the slab. You're the one that has to look at it. So collect what you love and don't ever let someone steer you away from what you love. However, if you were to shift away from collecting Flash stuff, myself and a lot of people watching this probably wouldn't hold it against you. The only thing that I'm trying to tell you here, young man, is don't feel like you have to keep it in your personal collection forever. Yes, there's a cool story that goes along with this, but sometimes tastes change and you change directions and your collection changes directions. So feel free, to trade it away or do whatever when the time comes. But right now, you're happy. You love that book. It's what you wanted. Enjoy it. I'm so glad that you have that actual book. So some other tangible benefits from this, maybe, just maybe, the kid's about 13 years old, maybe 15, 20 years from now when he has, a decent paying job, that's when most of us actually really get serious about collecting, is when we have, jobs that can actually support and fund the hobby. Maybe 15 to 20 years from now, if I'm still selling books, he's still buying books, maybe he'll come back to me, remember this story and be, a valued customer and hopefully a good friend. there's tangible value right there. I mean, if he makes even just one purchase in the future, it makes the whole thing worth it. Another thing that was really valuable about this whole experience was figuring out the value of these books and getting better at valuing books and evaluating how much time is going to go into it. Because a lot of times as a dealer myself, sometimes I feel like I'm lowballing people. I mean, like when that guy reached out to me and said, he valued them at around $2,000, $2,500, I believed him because there's a lot of good stuff in there, nothing huge, but a lot of good stuff. And, at retail value, if you added all that up, it probably would be about $2,000, $2,500. But in my head, I was thinking, $500 was a fair offer for that. And it turns out I would have been absolutely right. $500 for that collection would have been a fair offer because I turned around and sold it after fees and everything for $1,100. So when you factor in all of my time involved in that, a full day's work with 2 guys involved in stuff, it's slim margins. That retail value sticker price, when you add up, the full retail value of all that stuff, these books very well could have come to $2,000, $2,500, but that's not what they're going for on Whatnot. And I have 5,000 followers on Whatnot. I have a fairly large following on Whatnot. There's consistently, about 100 people in the room, and books are going for way less than retail value. I mean, I can confidently say that the vast majority of times books go for significantly less than the retail value. And that's me with, a sizable following. So retail value is a number that is just not really achievable, especially in today's market. And especially not if you're trying to do it with any kind of, quickness. If you want to just, hold and have inventory listed at these like crazy retail value prices, it's just not how I run my shop. I like to list things at prices they'll actually sell for and keep things moving. So it was a really interesting experiment for that purpose. So I hope that this video was entertaining and helpful. If it was, please consider hitting subscribe. It will enter you to win a 10-cent Detective Comics, and head over to brycecomics.com, sign up for the newsletter where you're entered to win a free slab each and every month, and I send out discount codes and first access to new collections and inventory that comes in. We're having an all Silver Age and Golden Age raw book show on Whatnot Friday, tomorrow, the day after this releases, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Link in the description for that. Thank you as always for sticking with me to the end of the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bryce Comics.